What causes HIE? This is a big question, and there is so much complexity behind the answer for so many. In our community, there is probably this many out of the entire community that it is very clear cut and cut and dry. And so then you look at what can be prevented, right? If there's a certain percentage that can be prevented because of negligence or malpractice, quality, improvement of care, those I feel like are a little bit easier to tackle and to look at how to improve, something that is outside of standard of care. So on our website, we've built out a page called Causes, and it's under What is HIE? And we've tried to, dump out all these buckets, and there's definitely more information and more specific causation under each of these things that, have specific diagnoses or pathways that happen either during gestation, around birth, or after. So you have high risk HIE causes, and that's related to maternal health. So things like preeclampsia, things like diabetes that can up the risk for HIE and adverse outcomes. Then there's things like umbilical cord causes, some that happen in utero, some that happen during birth, fetal maternal hemorrhage, placental issues, maternal infections, uterine rupture, and other uterine causes. Things that happen during labor and delivery, blood clotting disorders, post-birth causes, including sudden unexpected postnatal collapse, meconium aspiration syndrome that can happen directly after birth, and then causes in childhood as well. So we are hosting an event next week that I'm really excited about. This is with Dr. Mark Scher, and it's next Wednesday, April 24th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be recorded, so if you miss and can't make it during Wednesday, as always, our videos with Q&As are on our socials. We have a lot of good stuff that's organized, especially over on YouTube, and we will be live streaming onto YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I had a conversation with Dr. Scher last year at the Child Neurology Society meeting, and this is the genesis of this Q&A, where he asked me a lot of questions of, what are the misperceptions, or what are the things that people are talking about a lot, and can families easily understand or know what questions to ask when seeking out what causes HIE or what caused their HIE. And Dr. Scher has a ton of experience in research and clinical care as a child neurologist and as a fetal neurologist. So he understands fetal neonatal brain, the mother-baby dyad, and that, connection, and has done medical legal work as well on both sides. So he has a ton of perspective to share. So I'm really excited about this event. I hope that people will find it engaging, bring questions, and talk about these topics, so we can get a better understanding. Hope for HIE, the organization, I think we all feel very strongly that everyone deserves to understand as much about their medical history and medical information, their care, their birth experience, their gestational situation, as possible, because we all have decisions that we need to make. Every decision has a risk benefit behind it. And especially if you're looking at family planning, and what influences might put you at higher risk for another adverse outcome or not. Or is there, environmental? Is it biological? Is it, a lifestyle? What is it that could contribute? And many times there's multiple things that play in, and you may never know the exact details, but there's, words like probable, right, that we can use, that we think it's the scientific method, like a hypothesis, right? Or you might be in the small percentage of something that, like we know that something has a risk to it, and 5% of the population that, chooses this or takes this medication or whatever, you might be in that 5%, and that sucks to be on that other side. I personally have been on that many times with my own care, my family's, things that people say, these are the percentages, and it's not fun when you are on that low percentage. That being said, we as an organization also look at things from a global level. And so there are different nuances with HIE, and, a lot is just not clear cut, or a lot is related to things that there's so many variables by where you live, your lifestyle, your access to medical care, your access to prenatal care, to birthing care and how this all goes. And that's not just, we talk a lot about now of high income country, low and middle income country, but even within high income country, you have significant disparities of care. I'm in the US. We talk about the US, you can talk about Canada, you can talk about other places, even Ireland, which is, a relatively smaller country geographically, but like trying to get to a hospital for high end care is very tricky. And in the US in particular, now we have huge maternal care deserts. So there's a lot of factors that overlap that can make things really hard to discern and to learn more about. There's also a lot of misinformation, disinformation out there about HIE. We try to bring evidence-based, well-researched, international research to our community to better understand the factors of HIE. We know with some of the research that's come out that just the state of living, of growing a baby in certain countries, because of environmental factors like climate, can negatively impact and have a higher incidence rate of HIE, and that in many of those countries, cooling does not work. Even if you have cooling machines, it does not work, and can cause actually worse outcomes for babies. And so we just didn't know that 10 years ago. So these studies are so critically important that are going on. And so I think when you look at all the different factors that go into HIE, we're really going to have a good, robust conversation and help everyone try to just understand, a little bit more about your situation and how that fits into that global perspective and the many ways that, like HIE has so many causes, looking at the very many ways that we can work and are working to decrease that, and where families can look at those risk factors and decrease them. Lastly, I want to say that there are lots of questions and a lot of research going on in the genetic realm. And when we do genetic testing, and a lot of HIE families are getting genetic testing as a rule out, there are some that are going to tick a box that either HIE has masked a genetic cause and they mimic each other, or there's co-founding things. So you have like double bad luck where a genetic cause may predispose HIE or, add to that. And then we also have a lot of information out there that is, misunderstanding of what HIE is, and that HIE can co-occur with other things, but is a separate diagnosis from stroke, from PVL, from IVH, from TBI, which is external. And that, it can co-occur, but it also is a standalone diagnosis. So all that to say, we're going to tackle some of that this next week. I hope it's helpful, and I hope you can join in.